Welcome to Money Matters, the weekly currency roundup podcast brought to you by IsraTransfer. Whether you're a seasoned investor, an expat managing your finances, or just curious about the world of currency exchange, you're in the right place. Each week, IsraTransfer's co-founder and head of trading, Daniel Engelsman, will inform us of the latest trends, insights, and market movements that could impact your money. From currency fluctuations to economic news, we're here to equip you with everything you need to navigate the ever-changing landscape of foreign exchange. So let's dive into this week's roundup. Daniel, what's the latest update on the exchange rate?
Good morning and welcome to another shekel update podcast from me, Daniel Engelsman, head of trading at IsraTransfer. Wow, I don't know what to really say today because the news, from the US with Donald Trump's tariffs, it's not a shock to anyone, but the impacts of what's happening at the moment is really like nothing I've really seen before. Up until now, we've been talking about, the real impact on the shekel exchange rate, which is what we're really here to talk about, has been based off of the war in Israel, the ceasefire, whether there's going to be another ceasefire, and, when is the end of the war? And those have been the main drivers of the exchange rate. The exchange rate is still going to be impacted by those things, but, we have a worldwide issue, in inverted commas, at the moment with the tariffs that President Trump is imposing globally. Israel is affected by that. In terms of the actual tariffs that Israel is going to have for their imports and exports, there's lots of things in the media at the moment, and it's a really complicated issue and subject, which really isn't for this podcast. We're really here to just talk about what's happening to the exchange rate. So I'm going to just move on to that, but just bear in mind that when you're reading the news and you see more things coming out about the tariffs, it will impact the exchange rate that you see. So let's get on to that now, I guess. So the dollar against the shekel, when we first started this podcast, was trading between 353 and 358 in that narrow range. And in the last couple of weeks, we saw it break out of that range and it went as high as 373 at one point. But now it's hovering. Over the last week, it's been hovering around the 370 mark, which is, the best it's been since the beginning of this year, really, since, the end of December. So it is a decent time to be converting money if you need to do so, because, we saw it as low as 353. Now we're at 370s approximately. So, you're talking about a 5% difference in the exchange rate. So worth thinking about.
And what about the British pound and euro?
In terms of other currencies, there's been big movements, of course, as well. We have the pound against the dollar, the pound against the shekel, doing extremely well. It's at 484 at the moment. We had previously seen that as low as at the beginning of January. We saw that at 433. So again, the difference between it at 433 and at 480. It went as high as 486 at one point this week. That again is more than a 10% difference. So these impacts might have bad effects for economies and stuff, but if you're converting a lot of money, it seems to be a good thing at the moment. We'll touch on the euro as well. Euro has gone above 4 again. It's currently trading at 4.09 now. That is massive news, really, because if you look at the last year, we have seen it higher than that, but in the last 6 months, or even this month, let's go back this month, it was as though 385 at the beginning of the month, and now a month later it's 409. Again, big swing up, and if you need to convert money, it might be a good time.
And what should we be looking at for next week?
So over the next week or so, I would expect a lot of volatility, and just don't be surprised by anything. So if you need to make a transfer and you like the rate at the moment, and you don't want to take a chance or any risk, it might be a good time to be doing it because, the rates, especially if you're converting into shekel, are the best they've been for quite a while, to be honest. After Pesach, all the exchange rates could be a lot lower, a lot higher. It's just an absolute unknown at the moment. I don't like times like this, but, I guess there's a bit more to talk about. If you do want more information about the tariffs, I'll probably do a separate podcast talking about that. But so now I wish everyone Shabbat Shalom, and let's see what happens.
And that wraps up this week's Currency Weekly Roundup. We hope you found this episode informative and engaging. If you enjoyed today's discussion, be sure to subscribe and let us know if you have any questions you'd like Daniel to answer. For more information on currency exchange and to stay updated with the latest trends, visit us at IsraTransfer.com. Join us next week for more insights and analysis. Until then, stay informed and take care. Disclaimer: this podcast provides general information about currency exchange and buying or selling currency. It does not constitute legal, financial, or investment advice. Listeners should make independent decisions and seek professional guidance. The company is not liable for any actions taken based on this content.